got caught up in the rapture with this record. It's got so many hooks in it, delectable hooks. It when one grabs you and then another one grabs you, and the song is absolutely irresistible. The keyboards, the opening keyboards of whatever instrument he's playing at the beginning of the song, it sounds like keyboards. It's just, it's magical, sheer magic. And his voice, the way he's worked and recorded his voice, Chris Baio, I believe is how you pronounce his name, Baio, Chris Baio of Vampire Weekend. The album was called The Names, his debut solo album. Bass player with Vampire Weekend. Boy, his resume is rich with accomplishments. Graduated from Columbia. And he had just, Vampire Weekend had just formed before he graduated. And he took a job as a math teacher for Teach for America. And he was going to do that for a couple of years. But then the music of the band started to take off. So he just, hey, he went with the music. Go with the music. Vampire Weekend. First record I remember about Vampire Weekend. Boy, I remember, I think it was the summer of 2008. I saw the video on VH1, and this was back still when VH1 was still playing videos, at least late at night. And the song, I can't remember the name of the song. I wrote down the name of the song. A-Punk. It was so quirky. It was short. It was almost punkish in a way, but just quite radio friendly, at least for alternative radio. It's a classic alternative record. And that was off their debut album, Vampire Weekend. And then they came out with the album called Contra. And the song that I got into off of Contra was Giving Up the Gun. Had that thundering drums and just the echoes. And I was a volunteer at the time at the campus radio station. Used to play the hell out of Giving Up the Gun. Made my day playing that song by Vampire Weekend. Now, Vampire Weekend started to ease off a little bit. The pedal to the metal starts to ease off a little bit. And Chris Baio, the bass player, goes into production. He teaches himself how to produce, goes into the recording studio and just works the board, become a producer. Got a record deal, came out with an EP called Sunburn in 2012, and then we got The Names, which came out in 2015. And I tell you, this is 80s. Now, I did read an article where he said it was sort of a retro sounding David Bowie and Brian Ferry. And Brian Ferry is the first thing that come to my head when I listened to the record, when I first heard it. Brian Ferry. I hear the David Bowie influence in there too. It's a throwback to the 80s, definitely. But I hear other influences too. I hear Talking Heads in it. I hear a little bit of Spandau Ballet, particularly with the keyboards and the sort of the electro dance pop. Well, it's a magical record. I flipped over it. Baio. Believe I covered everything I need to cover in this video. Oh no, not quite. I want to mention this because it trips me out. You know, I've listened to music for years, for 50 years, over 50 years, over the generations, over the years, and then I read about these artists who are influenced by other groups, and it just flips me out. So it is with Chris Baio. The first album he bought, he was 7 years old, his first concert. 9 years old, saw Cracker. Remember Cracker from back in the 90s? Low was their biggest hit, but I remember they had a couple of others out too. And when Chris Baio, when he fell asleep at night, very often, when he snoozed off in the dreamland, he listened to the album Doolittle by the Pixies, the Pixies' second album that came out in 1989. By the way, the first album by Vampire Weekend, the one with A-Punk on it, is just such a quirky record. You know, I put that song on my fancy playlist. I sure did, back in 2008. The album, their first album, went to number 15 on the UK album charts. Very respectable. Number 17 on the top Billboard 200 album charts here in the States. Very respectable showing, a strong showing for an opening album for an indie band. Well, that's it. I love. Here's the hook. Here's part of the hook. You got the keyboard. You got the opening part of the song. But let me read you a part of the lyric to the song here. Think I might forget it. Going to write it down, down, down. There's another hook right there. You get into the keyboard. You get into the opening instrumentation. That's just absolutely magical. That's just I can't put it into words. And then he goes and he does this down, down, down. If you just regret it, don't bring your ass around, round, round. There comes another hook to bring you in. It is what it is until it was what it was. So just keep on swinging, if only because, cause. Another hook right there. You know, it's these little things. It's these little vocal or musical ornamentations that help make a record. That makes this record great and completely unappreciated. Yes, indeed, one of the most unappreciated records of the 2010s is this one by Baio. Well, Chris Baio is his name, but he goes by Baio as a solo artist. Another thing, I knew I'm going to. I think I'm done, and then I go over my notes. I say, oh no, I got to do this. A-Punk, the song A-Punk. Rolling Stone, the magazine Rolling Stone, thought highly of A-Punk. They ranked A-Punk as the number 4 song of 2008. That's Rolling Stone magazine. On the cover of the Rolling Stone, baby, you can't go wrong. Well, Baio, he is moving up. He's charging up my fantasy playlist of April 3rd, 2016, from 18 to number 13. From 18 to 13, Baio with Sister of Pearl. Forgot to mention the name of the song. Sister of Pearl it is. On my fantasy playlist 3 years ago.